you started like making music and?
Well, I started off, I guess, in middle school. I was in strings at Moody Middle School. I started off in strings. I did that for about 2 or 3 years. I grew up around music because my grandfather was always playing piano and guitar and stuff, and he was always around me. Um, when I got to college, I had like a little studio in my apartment, but I never really. I mean, I was like, I'm not gonna be a rapper or nothing like that. Like, I came to school for IT, but I used to play around and make music and stuff, and like my friends would be like, "You need to do something with it, blah blah blah. You need to do something with it," and I just never really was like, "I'm gonna do it," because I never believed that there could be something to do. Um, but then as I got older, and I think my last year, I decided just to go ahead and do it because one of my other friends, he was kind of trying to do it too. So I was like, well, if you're going to do it, then I'll do it. And we met up with a producer that was out here, that was known out here, and we did that, and then we just started making music, and then we started putting music out, and people started, they were like, they liked it, so that's how it started, and it just kind of trickled down from that.
So what do you think your goal is?
Originally, it was just to just to make music for fun. Um, but once I broke off with my original producer, and then I got my own MacBook, and I got all the computer, all the equipment that I needed, and then I just started producing my own stuff. And once I started doing that, once I made my first dollar amount off of it, music, that's when I was like, well, maybe I could do this for real. And then it just kind of went from there. And I don't know. I guess my end goal would be. It would be, of course, nice to make music, to be able to make money from something that you like to do, that's what you're passionate about, instead of being like on a 9 to 5 or working for somebody else's dream. But so I guess that's really my goal, is just keep on building and see where it goes.
Cool. So how has your style like progressed since like middle school strings class to now? And how would you like describe it now?
Well, in middle school, in middle school strings, I did it because I like music, but then I was as I started to get older, especially in middle school, I was like, this isn't cool. Like, girls aren't gonna like this. So that's really why I stopped in middle school. Otherwise, I probably would have gone through high school and did some type of music there, and kept on doing it. But I think that my style. I think that once I started producing my own music, that's when I started to create my own style, my own sound. Originally I was on somebody else's beats and stuff like that, which is fine. You used to have your own sound because it's my voice, but it's a lot easier to create your own sound from the bottom up when you make the instrumental, the whole environment, and then also put your sound as far as your voice to it. So I guess I'm still working on finding my sound and building my sound and things like that, because I've only been doing it, really putting out music for about a year and a half, maybe not even a year and a half really. But I think that that's something that always changes. Your sound is never going to be like the way that I sound now is not how I'm going to sound in 2 or 3 years. Just like if you look at any mainstream artist, if you listen to a lot of the earlier stuff, it doesn't sound the same as it does later on. So it's just a process, it's a building process. It's always changing.
Do you think, does the fact that you're making music for money, does that change your style at all, or do you just progress in your own way naturally,
Okay.
or is it driven by what's on, not necessarily what's on the radio,
Right,
but,
right.
Kind of what's trending?
I don't think that the money part of it really changes it right now, just because I'm not making crazy amounts of money. I'm not on a label. I'm not having somebody tell me how I have to sound. So right now I'm independent, so I don't really have to. I can kind of do what I want to do. But as far as, especially with producing, I produce things the way that I would want to be on them. And then if for some reason I don't use that particular beat or instrumental, then if somebody else wants it, then they can use it. And then but that's still them getting on my type of sound. So at that point it's like I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if money would change it. Of course, it's hard to say that because money changes a lot of things. But as of right now, I don't think that will change it, because if I change my style for anything else, then that's not really me. And then I'm just I can sound like anybody else out here.
Right. Do you think most of the mainstream guys have compromised their sound for, to satisfy producers?
I think that is something that a lot of people think, but I don't think that the people who really make it, I don't think that they really do like. I mean, to some extent, yes, but not just like, for instance, if you take like a Lil Wayne or a Drake or somebody like that, like they still sound like, that's still their sound. Granted, they may change up their flows and things like that. Like Drake doesn't sound like he did back when he was making, comeback season things like that.
Yeah.
But it's still his sound, it's still like, that's still like, if somebody hears a Drake record, they know that's Drake, off that, they know it's Drake. Now, there are a lot of artists who, who aren't necessarily as, famous or known that, I think that it does. You can tell that a lot of artists, try to sound a certain way because that's the mainstream way to sound. Mm-hmm. Especially with like the super auto-tuned and things like that, you can tell. So, but they don't usually last as long.
I was gonna say, do you think it's like good or bad to like change your sound to like make it mainstream, or is it better to like keep doing what you want to do but maybe not have as many fans?
I think that people like authenticity, and you can make a hot record and make millions off of it, off that one record, but that's not longevity, and I don't think that you would necessarily have to lose fans unless you just, unless it's just played out, like unless you're trying to sound like a 90s rapper or something like that. And I mean, some people like that, that's a niche crowd. But I think that if you're genuine and you have a different sound and people like it, then people are gonna follow the wave. People are gonna follow the wave. So I don't think that I'm not really worried about necessarily losing followers and things like that if I don't conform to a certain sound or something like that.
Do you have any artists that you are inspired by?
Yeah, definitely. Originally, I guess I was really inspired by A$AP Rocky. I listened to a lot of Biggie coming up. I wasn't too big of a Pac fan, but Drake, of course, I definitely listened to a lot of Drake. I'm not too inspired by trap artists. I like a lot of like music, so anybody that makes like Weeknd, anything that sounds like really like smooth and really good, that's what I'm inspired by.
So what is it about trap music that doesn't make it like music?
Okay, so let me change it around. I do have a love for trap music. I do have a love for trap music, specifically just like the drum patterns and the way that they sound. But I think that a lot of artists, they just say anything because a lot of times trap music just sounds really good and you don't really have to say anything because the beat is so nice. You can just say whatever you want to. So that's more when I say, trap music. I like to use the trap patterns as far as drums and fast hi-hats and 808s and things like that. I love that. So I'm not going to say I don't like, trap music, but it's just the current mainstream that's really out there on trap music. A lot of times is just, they're not really saying anything. They're not putting forth a message. It's just, I mean, it's good to listen to, but it's not like something that, I'm going to listen to it from my emotions or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gotcha.
It does seem like recently there's definitely been a lot of hip-hop artists who have kind of gone to more of like an introspective place than maybe was really going on before. A lot of it was like what's going on the outside. Now people are kind of focusing more of like, this is my life. And I mean, some people even have songs like, oh, I've got all this stuff now, but like but it's not helping anything.
Right.
What do you think sparked that trend in hip-hop, or was it really just the way that everything else was going?
When you say introspective, do you mean like themselves and their feelings, or?
I mean, I guess it's just one of those things where there seems to be a lot of artists now who really, instead of talking about kind of what's going on around them, and it's earlier, like, sorry, I'm trying to think,
Like
but
trap music, I think you're trying to say. Kind
Yeah.
of
like trap music was all about kind of like the hustle and that
Okay,
kind
yeah, I
of
see
thing. And
what you're
before
saying,
that, even like some of the like a lot of the stuff. What am I trying to say? Like, I don't know. To me, it's like Dipset was about making like party anthems, and then there was like, so you got like trap music, like party anthems, and then like before that, even some like relatively political stuff, like NWA and in a lot of the West Coast stuff. But then now it seems to be turning more to like, oh man, like I've got you know, a lot of people talk about like addiction problems, problems with like relationships, that kind of thing. And while it's already always been a trend, it seems to be kind of on the upswing.
Right. I think that a lot of people didn't think that, kind of like how I didn't think that playing strings was cool. I think that a lot of people didn't think that talking about their feelings in music was cool. You know, I think that a lot of people didn't think that people would want to listen to that. And then I mean, this also can be, you know, uncomfortable too, because music to a lot of people is really personal. But I think that, you know, people like Drake and The Weeknd and, you know, people that make these really like emotional songs and then put them on records that are really like upbeat and things like that, you know, that sound really good. I think that brought out a lot of the people to talk about their problems and stuff in music.
You think maybe, I don't know, we sort of had a hypothesis that maybe kind of like just what's happening around us, it fuels that a little bit, just with just all this crap going on, terrorist shooting, like just all kinds of crap. We were just thinking that potentially like somebody needs like, let's go deep on it, let's talk about something else, you know? So I don't know, we were just curious about that.
I think too that, you know, with all the conscious and people, you know, kind of trying to be conscious and things and stuff that's going along, I think that our generation, you know, a lot of people who make music and do things like that, a lot of times I feel like they do try to talk about, you know, those more conscious things, just because being conscious is kind of like the wave now, you know. A lot of times people didn't really care about, you know, what the government was doing, what blah, blah. But now a lot of the stuff is in our face. It's on the news every day, so I think that also fuels it as well.
One more. Where would you like we started out trying to see like where we think rap and hip hop is kind of going, like what's the next big trend? I guess we were kind of talking about it right now, but in your maybe in your opinion, or if you could choose, like where do you think the industry is heading? And that might be too broad of a question, just tell me what it is, but like, I don't know, is there anything that stands out to you that you see potentially happening in the future, like a style?
I think that as you were saying before, the whole emotional thing, that really is blowing up. I know a lot of I actually know I know an artist, his name is Chaz French. He's kind of blowing up in DMV and stuff like that, and him and people like Goldlink. I don't know if y'all ever heard of Goldlink. There's a lot of artists that are coming up that are really on that. They're getting a lot of buzz and stuff, but they're really, you know, they're talking about something in their music. They're talking about their feelings. They're talking what's going on, and they do it in a way that people who normally wouldn't listen to that type of music can enjoy it because it sounds really good. So I think that that's really where it's going. I think that over the next few years, a lot of the mainstream that we're gonna hear is gonna be that it's almost like trap but emotional type of music mixed together. And I mean, it does sound good.
So real good sound to support the message that
Right.
you're trying to get through.
Right.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I also want to ask, like, why, like, we've been talking about how people, or how rappers always talk about being, like, making money and, like, being, like, hard and being boss. Like, why do you think that is such a big deal?
I think that that's such a big deal just because as humans, you know, I think that a lot of times when you get money, especially as an artist, as somebody who creates art, you do have power because people are gonna listen. And when you have somebody listening to your words in their ear every single day, all day, that gets into their conscience. Like, you do have a power to influence people. And I think that, you know, they know that, and then that combined with the fact that you do have all this wealth. And I mean, people who have wealth, you know, a lot of times are automatically, they have that kind of egotistical, you know, vibe to them. So I think that all of that together, you know, it's the power of the mind that they have, and then it's also the power that they have just from being seen with all the wealth. You know, people want to be like that. A lot of people want to be like that. So I think that that's why a lot of times, you know, you do hear about the money and everything. I mean, even people who are on the conscious stuff, they do have those songs where they're, you know, talking about how much money they have and things like that. I mean, you know, sometimes you don't want to always go to that emotional place. Sometimes you just want to have a fun song.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Awesome, man. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.